You are officially an incense creator. Welcome to Incense and Common Sense, the live streams we do here on the Alert Zone TV. I would love for you guys and you girls to become active citizens, and y'all already know how to do that. Sorry about my lighting here. You guys and girls already know how to do that. Um, like always, we give everybody a couple minutes to get up in here. And before we get to the meat of the potatoes, that 5 minute mark, if you're coming in, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you can be notified when we drop nutritious and fruitful content here at the Alert Zone TV. All right, what's going on? Jason, make sure you drop in. Got White Rambo in the house. Hit the like button. We monetize now. I don't know how these super chats and super stickers work. I'll find that out. Just in case anybody decides they want to donate to the channel. Oh, sorry about that, everybody. Yep. Make sure you hit the like button. Give everybody a couple minutes to get up in here. Hope y'all having a good Friday. Definitely. I want to say my condolences to the family and the residents of Kerrville. Anybody out in Texas right now that has experienced that catastrophic flooding, we hope you guys and girls a speedy recovery. Being a New Orleanian, native New Orleanian, I know those recoveries from them storms, especially when water is involved, is a whole lot different than anything else because of the power of water. Shout out to our family out in Western North Carolina. We have not forgotten about y'all out there. If anybody is on the ground out there in Western North Carolina, let me know, has Interstate 40 been reopened through the gorge, or is it still closed down through there? I don't know. I haven't been through there in a while. Definitely. Hope everybody's having a good day. Couple more minutes, we'll get this live stream going. Definitely. So it's a Friday evening. Just give everybody a few minutes to get here. And I wanted to do this. As I told you guys and girls, I was gonna start doing more live streams. Forgive me. I'm working on setting up my new mobile office with the no, okay, that's fine. I'm working on setting my mobile office up and getting the lighting set up in there so I can do more content out on the road, especially when I'm somewhere where I got real good internet. Sometimes I want to do live streams, but the internet connection is not real good, and I don't want to do no janky internet. You know what I mean? And like I said, live streaming seems to be catching on more and more. People get to interact with it. Shout out to White Rambo TV, White Rambo USMC. Go subscribe. Dr. T, you already know where we at with it. Subscribe to Dr. T here on YouTube, GunTube, Guns and Journey, T Electric and Gun Freak Nation, Eyes and Ears Tactical, my brother Well Dressed Tactical. You know what it is. Holla at your boy. Say Fool Lonzo, Regular Gun Guy, Fat Guy with Guns, Summer Shoots, She Suits, Gun Girls Atlanta, Yokistero, Black Rambo, Autumn's Armory, The Honest Outlaw, Hitcon 45, Patrick E. Kelly. We can go on and on and on down the list. If I left you out, please don't bite my head off for not shouting you out. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's so many of us, and this is such a wonderful thing. Because as I always say, I'm the nutritious part. I'm the cauliflower and Brussels sprouts of GunTube. You don't get excited to see me? Sometimes you gotta hold your nose to stomach what I say. But once you digest it, and you let it sit, you see it's good for the body and it's food for thought. And that's all the thing that I want to make everybody aware of when I have these content outside of shooting, even when I'm shooting. I always want you guys and girls to know you may not like some of the things I talk about, but I always show how it intersects with the Second Amendment. With that being said, let's go ahead on and get into. I wanted to do a video about encounters with law enforcement live because I've never done one live. I've always done them pre-recorded. And if you in law enforcement, if you former law enforcement, if you current law enforcement, if you in any kind of active duty, retired, whatever, thank y'all for y'all service. If you're in law enforcement that you have to be dealing with the public, I think this would be a good video or a good series I do encounters with law enforcement for law enforcement to sit down and partake in themselves. Law enforcement should be thanking for me for making this kind of stuff. I know sometimes it might feel like I'm going off the tangent and I'm going off the rail about being in encounters with law enforcement, and it seemed like I'm attacking them, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm telling us as the law-abiding citizens some of the people that's stopping us. But I'm telling us as the law-abiding citizens also how to be prepared and how to stay 2 or 3 steps ahead when it comes to dealing with law enforcement. And I'm trying to give law enforcement a guide to go by when you stop people. So that's why I think it is very important. This is a part of the Second Amendment people don't talk about. Getting stopped with a firearm. For those of you who don't understand how different we have it, it's like getting stopped with a regular driver's license and with a CDL. With a CDL, everything is an enhancement. Especially if they catch you in a commercial vehicle. But if they catch you in your personal vehicle, they feel like you've been trained, so you should know better. When it comes to the Second Amendment, when we have our permits and things, they feel like we've been trained and we should know better and we should always be the bigger person. I understand when we deal with law enforcement, sometimes we may not be having a good day. Sometimes we may feel violated. The reason I do this is we still got to survive the encounter. There are still some states when law enforcement stop you on the books, it is the law. You must let them know that you are armed or the officer can take you to jail. I think the states that have that law is dwindling. I know for a while Nebraska and I believe Kansas had that law. And the state of Iowa, Nebraska borders us on one side, and Kansas is not too far of a ride, the state of Kansas. So that's important. You have to understand something. We live in a day and age with law enforcement where when we deal with them, they always take into consideration they want to go home to their families. Just like a lot of us don't like to have our rights violated as law-abiding citizens, a lot of them don't like for us to tell them what our rights are. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. At the end of the day, I want everybody to understand something. On the side of the road and where you fight these people. You guys and girls know, I was born and raised in New Orleans. For those of you who don't know the story, I've been told it a million times on these, and I'll continue to tell it. Whether I see it as fortunate or unfortunate, I've had the life experience of being stopped by cops in several states. I've been stopped by cops just doing their job, and I've been stopped by cops that I can't even tell you some of the things that they threatened to do. I have been beat a couple times. Once for telling the cop I knew my rights when I was 12 going on 13. I've been punched I got beat for running, that run tax. I told the story about that. For those of you who don't know what the run tax is, If you gonna run from law enforcement, don't let them catch you. If they catch you, it's on mandatory. On site is an ass whooping. The second they catch you, if they gotta chase you, they gonna beat your ass. If the dog gotta come, they're gonna let the dog bite you. I don't care if you surrender and you get in handcuffs. They're gonna stick that dog on you. That's a part of the run tax. Don't run if you can't get away. I've dealt with officers that have said they're okay with us having firearms as long as we follow the procedure. I've talked to officers that say they don't like no citizens being armed. Everybody that carries a firearm is not into the Second Amendment. I chronicled for you guys the story in Florida of the man that was pulled over by law enforcement. It's the usual. Said he ran the red light. You guys know the story. It goes from you ran the red light till you got anything on you ain't supposed to have. You guys and girls already know this is how law enforcement is trained. Y'all talk all that stuff about your rights. When law enforcement go to these seminars and this closed door training, all these consultants and all this crap, all these lawyers they talking to, they're teaching them how to get around the law. They're teaching them what to say. This is why they never ask you, do you have a legal firearm? They always ask you got anything illegal you're not supposed to have, any guns, not. If I say, yeah, I told you I have an illegal firearm, they teach them all this. There's this thing of, well, I smell weed. You guys and girls know, for us black men, that's usually the little calling card to search you. Well, I smell an odor of marijuana because of this myth that all of us smoke weed. I know a lot of black men that don't smoke weed. I don't smoke, I don't drink. But I know a lot of black men that don't smoke weed. But I've had that little stunt pulled on me. I smell the odor of marijuana. No, you don't. Don't nobody in this car smoke. You don't smell the odor of marijuana. But nevertheless, when you get stopped by these guys and girls, the last time I mentioned this, somebody hit me in the comment section and I want to expound on that part. First off, have your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance when you're going to get in the car. Have physical copies, not digital. Don't show a digital copy of your ID. I know a lot of y'all then got into this thing of you got to have everything on your fucking phone or your fucking tablet. And you can't have, you just too goddamn lazy to have anything paper. You always got to be giving somebody your phone. Stop doing that. You guys and girls can go look it up on YouTube. All these stories of people that handed their phone over with their insurance card. The next thing you know, the officer went to the car and went through there and took out certain pictures of these people. The majority of them was women, and sent them to themselves and then started sharing them with other people. So you have to be mindful of that. Be mindful of something else. On the side of the road is not where you hold court. You may not like a time, it's better to just outsmart them. I went back and forth with officers and we've got at each other, mouthing off. But I just tell you, as I got older, I just understood, look, the longer I got to deal with these people, the more and more the potential for something can happen. You say I was speeding, okay, here's my driver license, registration, insurance. Go and give me my ticket and let me go about my business. If I don't agree that I wasn't speeding, I might say, well, I wasn't speeding. And if you say, well, I was, I'm not going to argue with you. I'll see you in court and that's just going to be that. I always take something in consideration. Especially with the internet. The court of public opinion is very strong now. It's very strong. Having a firearm on you, that's yours. That narrative can go either way. That narrative can be the cops say, well, I shot him because he had a gun. You can't argue that that's your firearm. And that's something you have to understand. Sometimes you have to swallow your pride to live to fight another day. I've had to do it. I've had to listen. I've had them take my gun, put me on the car, do their little police thing, run my firearm, give it back to me with the bullets in the glove compartment and the magazine in another part of the fucking car. I've had to deal with that. I didn't like it, but you know what? At the end of the day, I'm sitting here talking to y'all about it. Right now, there's a public sentiment about law enforcement. A lot of people that really back the badge have backed off of it. We're at a time now where people are starting to ambush law enforcement officers. And at the end of the day, let me explain something to you. They human like we are, and they got families they want to go home to like we want to go home to. At the end of the day, saying I was prideful on my tombstone is not more valuable than saying I was smart when you're sitting down laughing and grinning with me about the incident that I survived. You can't argue with them on the side of the road. You may not like it. You have to always remember one thing when I talk about encounters with law enforcement. Us being legally armed. That plays a real big part in dealing with law enforcement. And you need to know how to deal with it. Especially people that's new to firearms. Like I said, some states you have to let officers know right ahead that you're armed. Sometimes they will ask you got any guns in the car. Yeah, I'm practicing my Second Amendment right. Usually you don't get asked that nice, but just saying, I just want everybody to be mindful of that. Uvalde is something I'll never let go. For two reasons. They let them kids get slaughtered. But the other reason is it showed the humanity in those officers and that they're human. And it showed something that a lot of people may or may not understand. A lot of people say what they would and what they wouldn't do until the situation happens. You hear all the time, you watch cops, you watch these different police shows, they love telling you, oh, I want to go where all the action is. Oh, I signed up with this job so I can put the bad guys down and all this other stuff. It's easy to put somebody down that's compliant already. It's easy to beat up a person when it's 10 of y'all and it's one of him or one of her. It's easy to shoot somebody 30 times when they don't have nothing but a phone pointing at you. It's not so easy to shoot somebody that got the same kind of firepower as you and is willing to use it against you. And that was the story of Uvalde. They let them kids die up in there because at the end of the day, they had somebody that was willing to engage them. Now, am I saying all officers are like that? No. But what I'm telling you is, throughout my life, my experiences, I've noticed that about law enforcement. A lot of them is brave as long as they can control the situation. When they feel they can't control the situation, the first thing they do is get on the radio and call for backup and say, step it up, because I got one fighting. I got one being aggressive. When you start telling them you about your rights, I got one being aggressive. So they calling somebody in to help them keep control of the situation. So I just wanted to talk to everybody and let everybody know you have to always be smart when you're dealing with law enforcement. As a law-abiding citizen, a legally armed citizen, we don't like a lot of these laws. But that don't mean just the number one weapon you got to use, this right here. It may be inconvenience to deal with them in their foolishness. But you know what? You live to talk about it. You don't wind up having to spend a bunch of money on a lawyer trying to fight a bogus charge. Look, at the end of the day, they stop me. I let them do their little police thing, and I go about my business. It's just that simple. If you're a law-abiding citizen, I want you to understand this before I get out of here. Once you become legally armed, things change. You can't be up in these guys and girls' faces like you used to be able to be. You always have to think about that. The shorter the encounter, the more likely things are to not go left. The longer the encounter, the more likely things are to go right and get bad and bad in a hurry. So, just wanted to talk about that. Um, and to law enforcement, uh, right now, be careful out there. That's all I can tell y'all. Just be careful out there. You got a lot of different people in this country mad for a lot of different reasons. They're taking their frustrations out, and some of y'all in law enforcement are going to be the target. So just keep your head up. Do your job the right way. Develop your reputation for being a straight down the middle officer. Even the streets will respect you, believe it or not. But for us, the law abiding citizens, always remember, once you get legally armed, the game changes. You do not want to wind up losing your life over foolishness. All the money in the world can't bring you back. John D. Rockefeller, I think they said he had 9 heart transplants in his life because he was trying to live forever. We got to go one of these days. But don't volunteer. Please don't volunteer your life because you can't get it back. So, how about y'all? Anybody in the comment section ever had any strange encounters, or have you guys and girls had encounters with law enforcement while you were legally armed? And if so, was it any trouble? Was it easy for you? Like I said, I've had some that they said okay. I showed them my paperwork, showed them my gun, and they let me go. I've had some that got angry and put a gun up to my head and saying if I moved, it was gonna shoot me. I've been through it all when it comes to them. So that's why I can have these discussions with y'all and tell y'all, use your head. Survive the encounter. There's nothing worse than a dead smart guy. We need all the smart guys and smart girls here on earth. We don't need them in the ground dead from foolishness. At the end of the day, survive the encounter, make it out. Make it out alive. And as I said, I'll say this one more time. Make sure you have your driver's license, registration, insurance physically. Not that digital stuff. That's a can of worms you don't want to open up. You don't want to open up none of them digital cans of worms because that's a can of worms you can't close back. Once that stuff goes to the dark web, you don't know who got it, who looking at it, and what have you. So I just wanted to come on and do that live. And I know it's Friday night. A lot of y'all getting ready for the weekend. We got other programs that's on here on YouTube and GunTube. I hope everybody enjoyed this little short live. Tomorrow and Sunday, I'm planning on doing several more lives. Some of the topics, some of the lives might not be as long as others, but I'm gonna start doing more lives with my topics, and especially when I'm in the headquarters. So I'm back at the headquarters for the weekend. So tomorrow and Sunday, I'm definitely gonna do quite a bit of content. If the rain holds up, I might even get to go outside and do some shooting for y'all and just chop it up about that, So I'm gonna let you guys and girls get out here. Shout out to everybody because it's a worldwide movement. I appreciate y'all coming through. Hit me in the comment section and let me know what you think. Like I said, we are monetized now. If you guys and girls want to do the super chat or super stickers or however that go, we got the paperwork we getting together so that we can start doing the Alert Zone TV merch, and that'll be another way to support the channel. Like I said, shout out to GunTube. When I say GunTube, I don't just mean the creators. I mean all of y'all that take in our content, that soaks up all this content with us. If it wasn't for you guys and girls, we'd just be a bunch of loudmouth people talking about guns. We'd be crazy and fringe and all the other things they used to say before GunTube came along. With that being said, if you're out there on the road, some parts is nice and sunny. Some parts of the country is underwater, raining, what have you. Be safe out there, safe travels. Tomorrow, just be looking at the community tab. That's when I usually post what I'm gonna do. One other thing before I get out of here. I'm sorry about the interview with Gun Freak Nation. A couple of things came up and we had to postpone that. We are working on doing a reschedule of that. It'll be over on T Electric's channel. Like I said, I got so much going on and he has so much going on and our schedules conflicted, so we went ahead on and swapped up. And once we agree on the time, I'll post it so you guys can know. Like I said, here on Instagram, I'm gonna start posting a little bit more on Instagram. I'm gonna start letting people know when we're gonna go live over here. And I might do a little bit of live streaming on Instagram sometime. I'm gonna try and figure out how to work YouTube and Instagram at the same time on StreamYard or what have you. So I'm gonna get all this figured out. Like I said, I'm working on getting it where you guys and girls can come on up and talk if y'all want, and we can interact with this community. Shout out to Regular Gun Guy for putting the brother on and letting me come on his channel all the times before I did this, and definitely shout out again to Eyes and Ears Tactical and Gun Freak Nation, because offline, those two guys was two of the biggest encouragers of me to start this. We had 2,390 subs on here. Let's get that up to 2,500, and let's keep it going. Let's start getting this thing to grow. Shout out to everybody around the world, because this is a worldwide movement. If you're in Canada, Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, shout out to the UK, shout out to Pakistan, shout out to Afghanistan, Hawaii. For people who didn't watch it in Hawaii that didn't hit me up, I've had people from Australia. I've had an Iranian, and Iraqi come through here. So I've had people from around the world tap in and let me know where they was watching from. I definitely appreciate that. Like I said, this is a worldwide movement. Even though we might always talk about America, what we talk about here resonates with the world as far as protecting yourself and keeping your head on the swivel. I'm going to post on the community tab in the morning. We're going to have a talk about why it's important to be legally armed. I'll do that tomorrow. I got some things to get taken care of, and I'm going to go ahead on and shut it down. But I really appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If you catch me on the replay, make sure you give this a thumbs up. Share it with people that you know might need to hear this. Share this with law enforcement. Law enforcement, y'all need to thank me for talking to the law-abiding citizens, telling them, let's make this process easier for everybody. So at the end of the night, the end of the stop, we all get to go home to our families. Till next time, everybody out there, stay safe, stay armed, stay on high alert, and we out.